I went through kind of a process in the last several months where I'm sure just like everyone else, you started to notice the rise of AI music like everywhere, even on Spotify, which I was like, at least flag that crap so I will know this is AI music, sorry for the French. But over and over, I started getting more of those recommendations of weird music with actually the artwork looks like a robot playing banjo or something like that. And actually, a lot of those artists have been charting, and you can see artists on Spotify. The Spotify is just randomly pushing into my playlists and into my radios of artists that released like 20 albums only in 2025, obviously a rate that no real artist can do. And I'm like, please, like Spotify, just give me a toggle so I can just, log off from that kind of music. Because me, just like everyone else who likes real music, or most people at least, I am sure, actually want music that came from other people who have a heart, and not music that came from a prompt. And I went through a process of fearing, really, actually a lot of fear of me also as an artist who releases a lot of songs. I'm not just all about the harmonica as some of you may think. I also release songs regularly. And I haven't broken through yet. I have really a very small amount of monthly listeners on Spotify, for example, and I'm thinking, did I miss the train? Is AI now going to beat everyone and just release unlimited amount of songs and beat everyone? And like all the pop stars are going to be AI? And it's crazy. Just now I thought I saw, if you now look it up on ChatGPT or wherever, you would see that 35% of the music that is uploaded daily to Spotify is fully AI generated. And it's not like we were missing music before. There were about 100,000 daily uploads of songs to Spotify every day. So now everything is just flooded with it. And obviously this is just the beginning. Just imagine where this is going in 3 years, 5 years, 10 years. And here's the bottom line. Here's my conclusion and why I am not afraid. I think that just as the food industry, for example, was probably turned on its head when McDonald's came into the market, and instead of just food that people actually make, McDonald's, and all the rest, there was a network that is just beating everyone up because they can massively produce endless amounts of junk food. So I think that while it is true that a lot of the music that people will actually listen to in the future, near future as well, would be AI generated, especially, for example, music for background, for elevators or whatever, because then it's just people will not have to pay copyrights. Not that I'm for it, but I think, as always, a lot of people are just going to want the organic, the real thing. And just like after McDonald's, there was an anti-movement basically of organic and people who are willing to pay more for something that was grown in the real world by a real farmer. I think the same would be also for music, because a lot of people, again, who really love music and love going to music shows, you know who you are. Likely if you're watching the channel and watching this, you are one of those people. And music actually touches your heart. And when I listen to John Mayer or Nick Mulvey or Bob Dylan, it touches me. It really brings me to feelings of elation or sadness. And yes, part of that is the story of, I feel the story. I feel that this artist has actually lived a life and actually has a story worth telling. And I hear it through the music, and only then it can touch my heart. And even though AI will try really hard to, fake AI artists that would be believable, I just don't think that the real music lovers are going to buy into that. Yes, there might be hits. Of course, I'm not illusioning myself. There will be hits. And obviously, I think in the pop crowd, for example, people who listen to Dua Lipa, Harry Styles, all that kind of stuff, and I listen to them occasionally as well. They have some cool songs. But I think this crowd is where this AI thing is going to go really hard, because my feelings were, okay, so is Spotify with me against this AI revolution? Is like the big music companies against all this like wave of crappy music? No, they're actually 100% with it. And if you look it up, you would see that Sony and Universal, they just, some of them, of the huge music companies, they just signed huge deals with Suno, who is the company that is responsible for a lot of this generated AI thing. And that's basically saying we're going for the money. We don't care about the real artists. We just want a lot of music that we will have to pay really little copyrights for, because we can just prompt it. We're not going to have it to pay it like how much royalties we pay Taylor Swift or etc. and go into copyright battles in court with her and Ed Sheeran and whenever they want a lot of money. And the companies are saying that against the artists. And we just want a computer and robots and robot pop stars that we can control and can puke hundreds of songs and albums into the world. So we can find the winners and make money as easy as possible. And I think one last thing I want to say is I'm also really disappointed, not that I am, but disappointed with Spotify, because I think they are showing their dogs. They're showing basically, again, sorry for my French, they're just pooping on all the artists and all the real musicians that actually made them the huge tech company that they are today. Not a music company, but they're really a tech company. And they're just saying, we're not going to flag AI music. We're not going to even give people a toggle to say we're not interested in AI music. The other way around, we're going to shove it down their throat because we can make much more money on it, even though it comes in the cost of all the real musicians, which are now getting much less exposure, obviously, because there's still the same amount of people in the world and just countless more music. But it's just music that is cheaper for Spotify to push. These are my thoughts. The bottom line, I know where it's going, not illusioning myself. There's just going to be more and more of that. But I don't think real musicians are going to disappear. And I also don't think that the act of playing music and learning music, which is just such a human act. I can go now on Sora and fake a video of myself playing on stage with John Mayer and playing the guitar much better than how I can play. But you cannot go around it. John Mayer plays how he plays because what you see in there is tens of thousands of hours of practicing the guitar in his room and in his studio. And there will not be a replacement to this, and also to live music shows. I'm sure they will also come up with holograms playing real live music shows, like in real life. But as someone one of my biggest joys in life is to go to live music shows, they cannot replace it with a hologram. And with the connection that you feel, whether you're in a show in a bar of a local artist in front of 20 people, and you still have that heart-to-heart connection, or, if you go to see Jack Johnson live on stage in a festival in Australia with Ben Harper, one of my most remembered shows a few years ago, I'm like, you can't fake this memory. That was real. Those artists were there with their heart. You cannot fake them into a hologram. So we're still human after all. Remember this. And most people will stay human and will love real music, I think. Maybe I'm innocent. Let me know what you think. Truly curious to hear what people think. And if also this crappy AI music on Spotify has been hitting your playlist so hard.